Hey guys, I just want to say that if you're new to the channel, please do consider subscribing. I'm a small content creator and could really use your support. I live stream 100% of the gameplay for games that I review, and I'm also always trying to keep up with the big named movies that are being released. If you would like to support the channel monetarily, you can do so through PayPal, or even better yet, you can get yourself some merch from my Teespring store. If you want to get better connected, you can do so through the social links in the description below, and please do consider joining the Discord. If you do, you can voice chat with me through my headphones while I live stream, and you won't be recorded on YouTube or Twitch. That's all I've got, guys. I hope that you really enjoy the video. Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Mike.
And I'm Ellie.
And it is great to have you as a returning guest.
Thank you, Mike. Well, yeah, we did the Christmas Chronicle 2 together.
And she did great on that one.
Thank you. I did. Go check that out.
Yeah, so this will be Ellie's second time on, and hopefully all of the nervousness and rough edges of the first attempt are gone away, and we're seasoned veterans now of this movie review business.
Well, yeah, I mean, you are. This is my second attempt, so please be...
Patient. Please be patient.
Yeah.
So, this is Mike's After Action Reviews, and today we are doing the After Action review for Spider-Man No Way Home. So everybody, as always, we are going to start with the film's production. This movie has a couple of production companies behind it. We have Marvel Studios, who are responsible for the last 20 plus years of superhero movies. We have Pascal Pictures, which are known for, most well known for Spider-Man Homecoming in 2017. They also did Venom, Let There Be Carnage in 2021. And then we have Columbia Pictures, which is most well known for Ghostbusters Afterlife in 2020 and Hotel Transylvania Transformania in 2022. So that released just a little bit earlier this year in 2022. So what did you think of the Marvel movies? I only started paying attention to production companies since I've been a YouTube reviewer, but what did you think of the Marvel movies? Did you like Spider-Man Homecoming or Spider-Man No Way Home? Any of the there's the two Venom movies. Any of those?
I loved both of the two Venom movies.
Okay.
I liked the first Spider-Man
Homecoming.
Okay. But I did not like the second. Yeah, the second Spider-Man as much. I love Tom Holland. He's a great actor. Mm-hmm. I loved him in the Avengers movies. But his Spider-Man is a little bit off.
I say that he's immature.
Well, yeah, I would say immature. Like I have to be honest. I'm kind of old. I like the old Spider-Man movies. Tobey Maguire. Yeah. So maybe I'm a little bit biased, but I mean, it's not just the Spider-Man. It's like the movie. Like, I thought that the first three Spider-Man movies were way better than this new... the first two Spider-Man movies.
Yeah, the third one gets I think the third one gets a bad rap, but I think the third one... I think that the Spider-Man movies were almost as good as any of the Avengers movies or any of these new Marvel movies, and then the third one was as good as any of the average. Like, I think it was better than Thor: Dark World. So yeah. So,
but I'm a Marvel fan,
person. Okay.
So
yeah. I am as well.
I was very excited about this movie.
Yeah, everybody who knows me knows I'm a big Marvel fan, so we have the Marvel stuff up. So this movie was written by Chris McKenna, known for Spider-Man Homecoming, and also worked on Spider-Man Homecoming from 2017, and worked on Spider-Man Far From Home in 2019, and then Eric Summers Spider-Man Homecoming 2017, Spider-Man Far From Home 2019, and then it was directed by John Watts, who most famously directed Cop Car in 2015 and also Spider-Man Far From Home in 2019. So most of the production here, at least the big names, the writing staff and director are all from the Sony Spider-Man movies, having Tom Holland. So we can kind of see where there's some influences there. I do just want to ask you, okay, in case, like, what do you think about this? Do you, kind of as we've gone past Endgame now, we have Disney Marvel rather than just Marvel? Okay, because Marvel built the MCU up to Infinity War, and then Disney kind of has taken over since Infinity War. I don't know if you knew that specifically, but do you see Marvel's influence on this movie more, or Sony's influence on this movie more? Don't say anything other than that. Do you see Marvel more or Sony more? Who do you think is responsible for what this movie is more, Sony or Marvel?
I would say Sony.
I would say Sony too, because Columbia Pictures and Pascal Pictures are from Sony here. So I would say, yeah, I would definitely say that we're in an era of almost Sony making better Marvel movies than Marvel does, which sucks. But I would definitely say that. So, yeah. So, moving on to the plot here. So this movie has a runtime of 2 hours and 28 minutes. And our IMDb plot summary is as follows. Peter Parker's secret identity is revealed to the entire world. Desperate for help, Peter turns to Doctor Strange to make the world forget that he is Spider-Man. The spell goes horribly wrong and shatters the multiverse, bringing in monstrous villains that could destroy the world. So, what do you think of the plot? What do you think of just the story? Not necessarily its execution, just the story itself.
I thought that it was really great.
Yeah.
I liked how after the reveal the people reacted, because I think that's exactly how people will react today. One day they would think that a certain person is a hero, and then maybe a video is leaked. And like
totally abandon all of what they've believed about that person before, yeah.
The next day.
Yeah.
You know, and the way that they were like hating him, making fun of him, trashing people around him, like it was very sad even for MJ. I felt really bad. And so I like how they showed those, what was like 20, it's
like the first like 20 minutes.
20 minutes.
And I wrote first 30 minutes. I will say, just kind of going along with what you're saying before you move on, I don't want to take up any of your time here, but I did say it was a jarring opening because it picks up right where the last one left off. So Spider-Man, Spider-Man Far From Home, Spider-Man Far From Home ends with Peter Parker, the big screen opening up with J. Jonah Jameson, and he says, "Oh, Spider-Man is Peter Parker," and it shows a picture of him, and then this one is literally him seeing that, and plays through that scene again, and then him like swinging through the city and continuing on from there. Very jarring. It takes up the first 30 minutes, and I would say that does kind of, it goes by really quick, like everything is moving very quickly to get a bunch of stuff through, and then it brings us where the trailer for the movie actually leaves off, and we... if you kind of get the basic idea of what's going to go on with this movie, that starts at about the 30-minute mark. So the whole plot summary is the first 30 minutes, and then from there we move on with how he deals with that, the kind of baseline for the story. So. Yeah,
I liked how people reacted. I think that their reaction seemed so real, especially in today's
world, yeah.
Yeah, and I was really sad that him and his friend were not accepted into college. That was a bummer.
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, basically there's an investigation with the police because they believe that he killed Mysterio in the last movie, in the last Spider-Man exclusive movie, and because of that, with this investigation. He's trying to get into college, and colleges won't accept him. And then because of his their association with him, his friends can't get into college either. I will say, so because of all of these things affecting him and his friends, that's where he goes to Doctor Strange, and there's the spell, and the spell goes wrong, and then things kind of flip out from there. I am going to say that there is a thing here that I call movieisms, just little things that are, it's kind of like, oh, well, why didn't they do this? And that would have made more sense, and then he wouldn't have had that problem. But without us, so they're not terrible, okay? Not totally out of the, out in the woods, like, oh, we're running around like weirdos here with this. But they are, like if you really, really pick it apart, you'll notice them. But without them, without these little things, the movie doesn't work. So, like we need Peter to not know how to deal with college admissions in order for him to go to Doctor Strange and try to deal with this problem. We need people to just freak out and not accept him and not realize, hey, but he's still Spider-Man, she's still trying to save the world.
I agree, but so when Peter goes to Doctor Strange and they are trying to dispel, to erase people's memory of knowing Spider-Man, Peter does something. He keeps doing something, and so that's why the spell doesn't really work.
Yep.
And I felt that was a little stupid. I mean, Peter Parker, he is a scientist, that he knows that...
He kind of got some things figured out.
Yes. I mean, science, it's a little bit like magic. You have a formula. It has to work perfectly. You have to have everything that you need and say the exact thing. Like you put, like you do
Otherwise,
a science experiment, like you have to use the right equipment, the right dose, and everything. And instead, I mean, he kept messing it up, and I mean, I felt like he's old enough to understand and have some kind of understanding. I mean, you can say that it's a movieism, but I mean, he's not just a random teenager, he's
supposed to be
first of all, he's older than when we start the
first two movies.
Yes. And also, I mean, he has been with Doctor Strange, he has been with the Avengers, so he knows a little bit how these things works. And I thought that it was a little stupid. I thought that they should have had something else happen for the formula to not work. Not that it was Peter's fault again, because I mean, it's always Peter's fault.
Well, it's his fault, and it's not just that it's his fault and he made a mistake that anybody would make. He made a stupid mistake.
Yeah, and he kept doing it. That's the thing. That's why it bothered me, I think, a little bit, and I thought that they could do that better.
Yeah, so that's one of the things that when we talk about the different Spider-Mans, you have Tobey Maguire, Tom Holland, and Andrew Garfield. I think that this is the most immature Spider-Man that we've had as far as from a Peter Parker standpoint. And even as a Spider-Man is Spider-Man. He has all the same abilities and stuff no matter who plays him. But I think this is the worst Spider-Man. He was the worst Spider-Man in terms of being Peter Parker. He looked the part, but he did not act anything like Peter Parker from the comics. Peter Parker was like 15. I want to say he was 15 years old when Uncle Ben died. He was still in high school, and from the moment that Uncle Ben died in the comic books and he got, with great power comes great responsibility, it
seems that we have a lighting problem.
Yeah, 1 second. We're going to go to a cut. Excuse us, we had a lighting issue. I had to cut there. Sorry about that, guys. So anyway, I was just saying, basically Peter Parker was 15 years old. He from the moment that Uncle Ben died, even as a 15-year-old boy, he was a genius. And then when Uncle Ben died, he took on the role of protector of not just himself and his family, but also the city of New York. And he matured into one of the most mature characters, and that's one of the pillars of his character. It's not like it's like, imagine Hulk, and this was a big thing that Endgame was criticized for. Imagine Hulk without his anger. Imagine Peter Parker without his maturity and wisdom. And
he was awkward and maybe a little goofy, but he was a genius.
He was a genius, but he was a genius. But first and foremost, even at a young age, he was a man. like an adult, very mature
and
person.
he was responsible, you know, and that's, I think, that's something that is missing in all these Spider-Man movies, because he's always, oh, you know, I want to go on my school trip, I don't have time for this. And even here, when he messed up, it was his fault, and he messed up the formula and everything, he said, oh, this is not my problem, it is your fault.
Well,
Spider-Man would not do that.
we're gonna stop you right. I just want to stop you right there because we're gonna talk about this a little later in the character section. As well, okay. But so there are some movieisms, there are some problems that we are going to talk about. But I do just want to say, last thing about the plot is that above all else with this movie is about redemption, and kind of all aspects of redemption with all of the characters. And I really liked that, and so I think we're good. We'll move on to the character section here. Moving on to the acting and characters. So we have Peter Parker, played by Tom Holland. He is known for Spider-Man: Homecoming in 2017, and earlier in 2021 he did a movie called Cherry. I've seen Homecoming. We've talked about the issues that we kind of had with that one, an immature Spider-Man. And I haven't seen Cherry, but apparently, it's Tom Holland, so it must have been good because he's a pretty good actor, actually. I really like his acting. It's interesting because he has a very thick English accent, and he does the American accent. So, do you have anything you want to say about Peter Parker the character, or Tom Holland the actor?
No, I mean, he did better in this movie, though. I mean, I know that we're talking about that he was a little bit irresponsible. He's not the best. But I think they really helped him in this movie. He becomes better. He becomes more like the Peter Parker that we know from the comic books. And, I mean, Tom Holland is great. I really liked him. So that's why, I mean, even though I had a problem with the other Spider-Man's movies, I really like him. I think he does a great job. And so you move on, to these little things. I think everybody would enjoy the movie in any way. I mean...
One thing that I'm going to say, and I'm going to keep talking about redemption. I'm going to mention it multiple times throughout this review. And this is about the redemption of Tom Holland as the actor being Spider-Man. This movie has that as far as the character, and also Spider-Man getting redemption through what happens in this movie. So that's really cool. So the redemption theme is going to keep coming up. Big thing is that you have Peter being very naive in this, which is kind of an issue for the character, sort of, but then at the same time, they do it well to where it's like, okay, I can kind of see it. You have Peter's intellect being shown here, which is really great, and I loved that because that's something that we kind of missed in the first one. A big thing that I saw from Homecoming was there's like a section where he's holding a alien crystal, which is basically the power of a nuclear bomb, and he puts it into a vice grip, and he's holding it, and he doesn't know what it does or how it works, so he takes a hammer and starts smacking it. It's basically the power of a nuclear bomb. He could have killed a bunch of people doing that. He basically was seen to be pretty stupid in the first movie.
I don't know if they were trying to do that as like the typical teenager would do.
But he's not.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't know why they did that. Were they trying to appeal to the new audience, like maybe teenagers nowadays that are... I don't know.
Kind of as I was saying, Peter's intellect here is shown much, much better. This movie, I just in my notes I wrote bullet point. This movie fixes Tom Holland's Spider-Man. One thing that we do get in this movie that we haven't gotten, and by the way, spoiler free. If you've seen this, you're going to know kind of what I'm talking about. Well, we're not really going to get into spoilers here. We did get the "with great power comes great responsibility" reference that we've seen in other Spider-Man movies, and that is the core aspect, like, of all things that Spider-Man is. If you stripped him down, he is only with great power comes great responsibility. That is the greatest aspect of Spider-Man. So that's awesome. We kind of have that, exactly like you were saying, not my problem. And we see him go from basically saying, like, this is not my problem, I don't want to deal with this, I'm just a kid, to going, to moving into, making great sacrifices for the betterment of others, which we have not. This is the first time we've seen that. I don't care what you think. I do care what you think. Leave me a comment in the comment section below if you disagree with me. Let me know. But I have not seen this done properly, this aspect of Spider-Man sacrificing for the betterment of others in the other two movies. We just haven't seen it. In the first movie, he was just interested in getting a prom date. In the second movie, he was basically forced to be hero. Otherwise, because it affected him personally, and so seeing it here was really awesome, that redemption arc. So, moving on to MJ. So we have MJ played by Zendaya. And that's the only thing I know her as. I don't actually know if she has a proper first and last name, but you know who I'm talking about, Zendaya. She is known for Spider-Man Homecoming in 2017. She also did Dune in 2021, and Dune is a great movie. I did a review of it. I'll put a little card up. It's over here. There will be a little card over here. Click on that. You can go see my Dune review with other Mike. I think that she's a fine actress. I don't think that she's like, Oscar winner style stuff.
But she's still young.
And she is still young, but she is
starting.
She is a good, solid actress.
Yeah,
I do, same with Tom Holland. I think that Tom Holland, I would almost say, going from speaking in a different accent to another accent and stuff, and some of the things that he does, I think that he is miles ahead of her. I'm sorry. Okay, but I do think that she's a solid actress. Do you have anything specific you want to say about her?
Well, about her character.
Or the actress, but go on.
Well, I don't know the actress so well.
Okay.
Probably from my accent, you guys understood that I'm not American.
Okay.
So, don't know her so much, but I like the way that she acted. I know that she did Dune, and everybody was very happy with her. I haven't seen it. I'm sorry, but I will, and I heard the great things about her. I have to be honest. At first, in the other movies, I had a hard time relating to MJ. Mm-hmm. Maybe because she's so different from the MJ that I'm used to. I like that she was a strong character, a strong woman. That she was, self-confident. That she, how would you say?
Yeah, so she has confidence, she has intellect.
Yes, she's smart. Yeah. I like that aspect of her. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I did not like the fact that she came out as arrogant.
Yeah.
So I think that in the other movies, she just looked like she thought she knew everything, and she was arrogant and a little bit selfish at times. But here, I really believe that we see that she's like that. Even it's more like kind of like not a facade.
A facade. No, it's a facade.
A facade, because she's afraid. She doesn't want to get hurt. She doesn't want to be disappointed. And we see a lot in this movie. She always says, "Don't expect anything, so you won't get disappointed." Yeah. And so I think that maybe that's why she's like that. So I like the fact that they give her a little bit more of depth to her
depth
to her character. And I understood why she is the way she is. So I like that. Now I can empathize with her, relate, and liked her more because of that.
So I agree with you on all counts. I'm going to maybe take it a little bit of a step further. I did not like her character at all in the first two movies. I thought, for all the same reasons, just to clarify, I have no problem with a character, any character, male, female, somewhere in between, alien, whatever, being confident in things like that. But there are confident characters, like Superman. Superman is a confident character. He knows what's up. He's coming in, but he is the nicest guy.
Exactly.
She is confident and mean, and she is. She's actually mean. She's arrogant. She's kind of a prick. She's the type of person that in high school I would have not liked. She's the type of person that as an adult I would not like. I can get along with anybody and work along and just kind of not say anything, basically, but she really is kind of a jerk. And here she starts off that way. And we see some things that she does, and I almost want to say that it seems like they really, again, redemption, right? It seems like they almost knew how people felt about her in the first two movies, put it into the beginning of this movie, and then turned it around so we could get the redemption. You see her with Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is very upset because of some things that have happened, and he says, "You guys got to fix this because this is your fault." Like, this actually was Spider-Man's fault, some things that happened, and she goes, "Oh, well, I know some magic words, and they start with please and thank you." And I'm like, you know what? People are going to die. Okay? People are going to die. The world could be literally destroyed because of some of the things going on here. And you have an attitude? Really? Really? Okay? It reminds me of it just reminds me of some of the worst people that I've ever met. And you just want to say, like, shut up. We've got stuff to do. I don't care about what you think right now or how you feel. We need to save...
we're not in high school.
Yeah, we need to save lives. This is real
this is
now.
like a big deal,
But one thing that I did like is in the first couple of movies, you don't really see anything that would make her and Peter like each other. I didn't feel that way. Not so strong. The development of their character is more, in the first few movies, is more of a friendship, in my opinion, that then... Like in the first movie, it's almost like they develop a friendship, but then by the end, they just end up together. Mm-hmm. There was nothing that, like Peter... There was nothing that really, really brought them together. And then in the second movie, again, more of a friendship type of thing. They are dating by that time, but you don't really see anything amazing about how their relationship goes. And then in this one, you really see them connecting and
the friend
acting.
zone, the date zone. They are very close, especially nowadays where...
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it was done on purpose.
So I would say that the greatest strength of the character here in this movie is that the connection to Peter Parker and her attitude change, and I like that. Those are all positive things for this movie. The character in the past I didn't like. I liked him more here. Okay. Mm-hmm. So moving on to Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is played by Benedict Cumberbatch. He is most well known for which. Is odd to me because according to IMDb, he's most well known for playing the Imitation Game in 2014, but I think that almost everyone just knows him as actually Doctor Strange, but whatever. And most recently, he also did the What If episode. He played Doctor Strange in What If in 2021, so definitely go check out What If. I did a review of that one too, and I'll put a card up here, and you can click on it and go check out and see what I think of that, and I really think that that's worth a look. So what do you got? Doctor Strange / Benedict Benjamin Cumberbun. Benedict Cumberbatch.
I'm not even gonna try. I mean, I liked him. I thought he was great. I thought that he was the only one that he was thinking logically and he was doing the right thing. We actually, so we didn't talk about this review before, but we did talk about a little bit of what's happening like between him and Peter Parker, and we disagree a little. Yeah. I thought that he was right. You said that you understood why Peter was doing why he was doing it, but I was more.
Wait, so you're saying that you thought that Peter Parker was right?
No, it was wrong.
Okay.
You said that
I just want to clarify
you could understand why
I already
Peter
knew that. I just
Parker.
want to make sure you knew it. So.
Oh, why Peter Parker was doing what he was doing, and I didn't. I couldn't understand so much because I knew what was at stake, and I thought that
So yeah, I definitely.
But so I really liked Doctor Strange. I thought that he was the most logical and reasonable character, and I mean we didn't see him a lot during this movie, just kind of to clarify my position on this as well. Yeah, so some people are going to look at Doctor Strange. I think this is going to form kind of two teams where you're like, Doctor Strange was the most right, and then there's going to be other people who believe that Peter Parker was the most right of the argument that we're talking about. Which, no spoilers, you're going to see what that is when you watch the movie, and you definitely should watch it. Okay, even if I will tell you, no matter what our review here is today, which we have not told each other what our review scores are. This one is, I would just say, is worth a look. I'll just give you that. No spoilers for the end of what we're going to say, but I would say it's worth a look. But yeah, so some people are going to say, no, I think that Spider-Man had a better idea of how to deal with certain things, and then other people are going to say, I think that Doctor Strange had a better idea of how to deal with things, and I also just want to say it really didn't matter who was more right. It all worked out in the end because of the way that they handled things and the way that it was written. I think the writing was really good because of stuff like that. Basically, this is classic Doctor Strange. They haven't really changed the character too much or anything like that, but he is a character that is in the beginning. He does a thing, he does the spell, and then he has to go away. He goes away for a while and then comes in kind of more towards the end to wrap things up, and I think that that's just fine. I think that that's fine. The way that they did the writing and stuff, and they kind of explain what happens with him, is done very well. I do just want to point out that he is not the Sorcerer Supreme anymore by technicality, because he was gone for 5 years, and so somebody else gets it in his absence. I'm sure that they're going to
change that for the next movie and everything. So don't freak out when you see that. That's a small spoiler that has really, it's more of an Easter egg. It has nothing to do really with the movie at all. But there's that. So kind of world building with that. And then, I just think that my only two notes were that, and then also the conflict with Spider-Man I think was done very well.
Yeah.
So moving on, we have Ned Leeds, played by Jacob Batalon. I think that's how you say it, Batalon? Well, whatever. And he's known for, this is Spider-Man's friend. He's known from Spider-Man Homecoming in 2017, and he most recently did Let It Snow in 2019. I haven't seen that movie, but I saw Spider-Man Homecoming. And basically, he's the friend character. He describes himself in the movie as the guy in the chair. And he's like Spider-Man's tech guy. One thing that I said in the first and second movies is that I don't think that Spider-Man needs a tech guy. I don't think that he should have a tech guy because he's smart. He should. Basically, you have Ned being the intellect of Spider-Man in the first two movies. You have Spider-Man being a child in the first two movies. And then that makes you wonder, where's the genius mature teenager? So it's like, well, it's not there. Here they do it better, and I think that they're setting Ned up. So basically there's a small interesting thing that happens with Ned, and it kind of it's like an Easter egg, kind of like leading into something else that's going to happen with him later on in the movies. And I think if they do that right, it could be good. I think it would be good actually to try to remove him from Spider-Man, make some space between the two, so that way Spider-Man can basically handle his own. Okay, excuse my language there. What did you think of Ned?
I mean, there's not much to tell.
Yeah, side character.
He's a small character. I mean, I liked him, but I agree with you. I mean, Spider-Man doesn't need him. I mean, it's nice that he has a best friend, and I understand for the purpose of the movie and everything. So I understand why he's there.
I just want to. I'm sorry. I just want to interrupt. Spider-Man does need him in these movies, but Spider-Man shouldn't need him.
No, I know. But even as a best friend, not even like for his skills, but just as a support, he knows that he's Spider-Man, so he needed some even moral support, whatever, but, and I mean, I like the guy. I mean, his acting was good, but I mean, I don't have much to say, he's a small character, and I like what they did with him. Mm-hmm. I like that we are switching, from
switching tracks.
Yes.
Yeah. So kind of switching roles from being Spider-Man. I think in the future you're going to see him switch roles from being Spider-Man's friend character to being his own character. And I think that not only does he need that to be successful in the MCU in the future, Spider-Man needs that. Spider-Man needs to not have a best friend character that does all the smart stuff because Spider-Man's not smart enough. Mm-hmm. Okay, so moving on, we have May Parker, played by Marissa Tomei. Marissa Tomei is most well known from My Cousin Vinny in 1992. Great movie. I saw it. It's really good. I haven't done a review. Maybe one day I will. And she most recently did The King of Staten Island in 2020. I'm going to say my spiel first. Okay? Normally I've been asking you, and I normally do ask my guests to say their thing first, but I just want to... Aunt May... There's that meme of Aunt May getting younger. So with Tobey Maguire, Aunt May was this big part of Peter Parker's character. Not so much Spider-Man, but Peter Parker's character. And then in Andrew Garfield, Aunt May was a big part of Peter Parker's character, not so much Spider-Man's character. And then in Tom Holland's Spider-Man, Aunt May was kind of there. And here they start to do the same. They do the same thing that they've done in all the other iterations of Spider-Man. Aunt May becomes a big part of Peter Parker's character as far as a motivation. There's an inspiration there that happens, and I think that they've redemption. We've redeemed the character because she's kind of been a fifth wheel, and here she gets her own. She comes into her own. I'll put it that way. Without getting into spoilers or really talking about all kinds of stuff, she comes into her own here and is as far as a motivation for Peter Parker.
I agree. I don't really have anything to say about her.
I like her acting. Yeah. Marissa Tomei.
I mean, she was not so much in the movie, but her role was very important, especially for
Peter Parker's character.
Yes. and I liked her. And
yeah. Okay. So moving on, we have a lot of characters. We're almost finished, but we do have some characters we got to talk about. So we have Dr. Otto Octavius, Doc Ock, as said by J. Jonah Jameson. He is played by Alfred Molina, who is most well known for Spider-Man 2, where he plays Doc Ock in 2004. And then he's also known, most recently did Troll Hunters, Rise of the Titans in 2021. What do you think of Doc Ock?
Well, I mean, I loved him. As soon as they introduced him, I was like, wow, what an entrance. I was so excited. I jumped from my seat. I was so excited. And they don't change the character.
Which is great to see. So many things are changing characters.
I was afraid that they were going to make him different. Instead, he's exactly like the same character.
He is the Doc Ock that you remember.
It's like they finished the Spider-Man movie and they started again right away. How long has it been? Like almost 20 years? 15?
18 years.
Yes.
No, 18 years, yeah.
But it doesn't look like it. And, I mean, the guy looks great.
Plastic surgery and CGI will do that.
Well, I mean, the guy was great. I love the way that they introduced him. I mean, the actor is really good at doing his...
Acting.
Yeah, at acting.
Doing his job.
Do his character, I mean...
Which is really great to see. It's really awesome to see actors take a character and then they're that character. And that's one of the things that I love about, just kind of sidebar here, that's one of the things I love about Chris Hemsworth with Thor. Chris Hemsworth with Thor has straight up said, as long as Taika Waititi's in, I'm in. Chris Hemsworth is Thor and wants to be Thor forever. And that's awesome. That's awesome to see.
I love what they did with his character, the redemption that he gets, because, I mean, people that are...
big fans of Tobey Maguire and
movies, Spider-Man. We all felt bad when we saw that Doc Ock was actually just a good guy. He just wanted to do great things and do good for the people. But then, unfortunately,
those AI machines, the tentacles took over his mind.
Yes, and he became kind of evil. And then at the end, he. I mean,
sorry,
this is not a spoiler. I mean, this happened 18 years ago, but he sacrificed himself, for the good.
To save the city, yeah.
And I remember I almost cried. And so seeing that they gave him a chance of redemption in this movie just really made my day. For me, that was...
Yeah, we get a round 2 with Doc Ock.
Yeah, and the way that he interacts with Peter, I mean, I loved it. Yeah. I just...
Oh, sorry, go on.
No, I mean, this movie is just worth to watch just for this character.
So I'm just going to say, again, no spoilers or anything like that, but he does play a larger role than expected in this movie. And there's some things that happen with him where you're like, oh. And so I did like that. I really did enjoy that. So then moving on to Norman Osborn, or Green Goblin. Played by Willem Dafoe. Willem Dafoe is most well known for his role as Green Goblin in Spider-Man 2002, and also most recently did Nightmare Alley in 2021. Willem Dafoe is an actor that when you see Willem Dafoe in the movie, you go, oh, that's probably good, I'll watch it. So.
Did he do Van Gogh too?
What's that?
Wasn't it the guy that did Van Gogh?
Van Gogh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, in Italian we say Van Gogh.
So what do you think? Willem Dafoe and his character here.
I mean, he's just a great actor. Nothing that I can say about his acting other than just excellent.
He hasn't aged a day.
At all. Well,
probably CGI and makeup and stuff, but...
Well, even J. Jonah Jameson. Yeah.
But even the way he acts the character is exactly the same. I mean, so in the original movies they had CGI and all this stuff, but with Tobey Maguire and stuff they had CGI and stuff, but just the technology and just the way that they wrote movies was a little bit different. You didn't get such ferocity when it came to combat. Oh, yeah. And here you see Green Goblin. I mean, he fights like a younger man. Holding nothing back. He does really good, and
I mean, I love this character.
Seeing this character is enough to want to go see this movie. Also,
I mean, him and Doc Ock, I think they are the two pillars of this movie. Almost like I just they were great, and I like how the people, the writers and the production and everyone played on the nostalgia.
In a good way, though.
Oh yeah, in a good way.
Yeah. So, one thing that I do want to say, kind of the last point I want to say about this, is a very interesting little juxtaposition with the movies. So in Spider-Man 2002, Green Goblin says, "Let die." So he's he's on the Brooklyn Bridge. He's holding a cable that has a bunch of kids, like it's attached to a cable car with a bunch of kids, and he's got Mary Jane in the other hand. And he says, "Let die the woman you love, or suffer the little children. Make your choice, Spider-Man, and see how a hero is rewarded. We are who we choose to be. Now choose." Okay? In this movie, there's a scene where Green Goblin is there, and he says, "Gods don't have to choose. We take." And it shows how. So now you may say, "Oh, well, that just might just be some little dialogue they put in." But the thing is that Green Goblin in this movie, and this is not a spoiler, this is in the trailers and everything, he is the Green Goblin from the Tobey Maguire movies. So to him, it was just 5 minutes ago when he was on the Brooklyn Bridge saying choose. And then let's go. And so when you see him here, this is him even thinking like 15 minutes ago I fought with you and told you choose. But now I know that gods don't have to choose. We take. You see? So I just thought that was really cool and really great writing. The writing here is awesome.
Yeah, I really appreciate. I didn't catch that. Like, I'm glad that you told me because I didn't think, because for me it's been 18 years, and I haven't seen those movies in a long time. I have to be honest, and so, but it was.
So, moving forward, we're getting into some of the smaller characters. We have Dr. Kurt Connors, the Lizard. He is played by, I'm going to mess this up, I'm sorry, but just bear with me here, Rhys Ifans, okay? Or Rhys Ifans, it's R-H-Y-S, who is most famous for his role in The Amazing Spider-Man from 2012. He has also just recently did The King's Man movie from 2021. As far as the Lizard, not a whole lot going on. Smaller character. He only talks a few times. He's there. Then you have Flint Marko / Sandman, who's played by Thomas Hayden Church. I love him as an actor. He's most well known for the movie Sideways in 2004. He's also most recently did The 24th, a movie titled The 24th from 2020. Basically, he's just a guy trying to get home. In the third, he didn't die in the third Spider-Man movie. So here he's a unique character in that he's not actually dead in his own universe, but he does, and he also plays kind of the same role. He's like basically a bad man who's turned over a leaf in his life, and he's just trying to be good now, and he just basically wants to be left alone and go home to his family. And how they make the conflict with him is really interesting because there's, he's a good guy, so you have all these bad guys, and then you have Spider-Man, and he's actually just kind of caught in the middle. Mm-hmm. But he is a small role. He doesn't get a lot of screen time or dialogue and stuff like that. Then we have Max Dillon, or Electro, played by Jamie Foxx. Jamie Foxx, most well known from Ray in 2004, and Project Power is his most recent film from 2020. He's not blue anymore. That's the big point I wrote. And then he also turns out he's not so bad himself by the end. I think they did some interesting stuff with his character too, and he gets a little bit more dialogue than Sandman and the Lizard, but he's also just kind of a smaller role. I would say that the greatest thing about the characters and the acting here is that we have a lot of characters, a lot of villains, but all of the villains are main characters except for Sandman and the Lizard. They really do take kind of a back seat here. But we do get some really unique character interactions between the villains and Spider-Man and the villains and each other, especially Green Goblin. So, also, one of my notes was many enemies. We had many enemies. but we also had some unexpected friends and some very cool team-ups. Very cool team-ups here, so that was really, really well done. Unfair levels of acting. Unfair levels of acting. Certain people have said in the past that superhero movies are just like carnival rides. They're not really pieces of art. They're just kind of fun for you to have, which is the purpose of movies anyway. So it's not like that's that's a compliment actually. But art is made here. This was art as far as the acting and the writing, so that was really good. And we also have some cameos. So we have 2 cameos. One is not even really a spoiler. It's Wong you see him in Doctor Strange, the Sanctum Sanctorum. But then there's also another cameo that we're not going to give away here. But I thought that was really cool and opened some things up, and I'm very excited to see what they do with that. So, anything else you want to say about characters or acting?
One thing that I forgot before, it was one thing that Doctor Strange said to Peter was that it wasn't about Mysterio. It was almost like his fault.
Yeah, he says
because he was. He says it's not Mysterio. It's you trying to live 2 lives.
Yeah,
and I feel like Peter Parker, like Peter Parker of Tom Holland, did not understand that. Like he kept blaming everyone else except the fact that he was Spider-Man.
Which is a great reason why Tobey Maguire is one of the best Spider-Man, because
he said he knew
he
was trying to make it work in any way, but he would know, and I mean
he had an understanding of that.
Yes, he didn't blame his enemies for breaking up his relationship. He knew that it was because he was Spider-Man.
Yeah.
He wasn't blaming the people, like even the things that would happen in the world. But yeah, that's one thing. So that Doctor Strange said that I really liked it, because
I think that's a good characteristic of every big superhero. Like as far as their character is, like Batman, he knows that he's Batman first. Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man, and Spider-Man from the comic books knows that he's Spider-Man first. Captain America, Thor, Iron Man, they're all their heroes first because that's what they do. While Tony Stark, Peter Parker, and Thor is Thor, but those people, that's who they are. What they do though is almost the more important, because
that's why it makes them heroes.
That's what makes them heroes, yeah. Okay, so I think we're good to move on to miscellaneous. I just have a few notes. We'll go over some miscellaneous stuff, okay? Mm-hmm. Anything that you off the bat just want to mention right away as far as miscellaneous stuff?
No.
No, okay. First, I want to say great action. Like I said, they used to film superhero movies and just movies in general in a different way. Here, this is visceral action. Visceral. I mean, if you really want to see... This is like watching MMA. Like, you really want to see some guys get hit hard and keep on moving, here you go.
Well, finally. Because
yes.
There have been a lot of action movies where there's not action, or the action is so...
Shot bad.
Yeah. I mean, I understand that in some movies because of COVID, so they couldn't touch...
That was my problem with The Matrix, too. One of my problems.
I think something like that. Because of COVID, they couldn't touch each other, or like not being as close. But I mean, you have CGI, like you have a lot of things that you can do, and... I mean, but instead here, the action was amazing.
So you have comedy. There's the funny teachers in the beginning, which is part of the Spider-Man movies. They have like the interactions with him and the teachers at school. You have the school news, which I would actually say is a little bit more cute than funny, but it's a staple of the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies. In each of the movies, there's like the school news where it's like, hey, let's go Tigers, and it's the girl, and she's, ooh. It's funny because I found out that the actress who plays the school news anchor, the reporter for the school news, is actually like 25, and in the movie she's like supposed to be 16 or something, but she does really good. Doctor Strange, they have some funny interactions with him, and that's pretty cool.
And the bad guys, the humor between the bad guys, the way that they interact with each other, that was my favorite.
So the interaction, but then also like dealing with the idea of magic. Like there's a time when Doc Ock, he gets captured by Doctor Strange, and he's like, where am I? And Zendaya's like, you're in a wizard's dungeon. There's literally no way to sugarcoat that. This is literally a dungeon of a wizard. He's like, oh, magic, hoo-hoo, you know. It's like, yeah, it's really cool, some really cool stuff.
Because everything was about science back then,
yeah,
you know.
Yeah. Well, as you kind of bring characters into the wider MCU, it stops, you know, you start to get more stuff, you know, as far as, like you said, science and bigger and bigger superpowered things to deal with. And that's cool to see them kind of fusing these two things together. You have a more grounded Spider-Man type character brought into the world of, you know, basically myth and magic that is the MCU today. Then you have kind of I wrote Doctor Strange Inception, which we've all seen in the trailers, and I don't think that they should have put it in the trailer because it would have been cool to go in there and see it without the trailer, but the train scene where you see Doctor Strange making the train go like this and all of that stuff, I thought it was pretty cool. Another kind of comedy moment with him where he basically gets defeated by math. You'll have to watch the movie to see what I mean by that, but Peter Parker, using some of that Peter Parker intellect, literally defeats Doctor Strange in a fight. Not a real fight. Not like where they're trying to kill each other, but there's a little bit of a conflict, but he beats him with math, which is awesome. My last major miscellaneous point here is that they have spectacular resolutions for these characters, redemptions in every, and I mean that in every sense of the word, not just the way the story goes, but like character redemptions because of the way the characters act. Character redemptions because of the things that the characters do. Character redemptions because of, you know, certain things that we've talked about happening, and you're like, man, now it just feels more wholesome. You know, the Spider-Man universe, or Spider-Man story within the MCU anyway, feels more wholesome, and Doctor Strange's story within the universe feels more wholesome. I feel better about the resolutions. I feel better about the endings of every single Spider-Man movie that has happened in the past with some of these interesting characters and stuff, so I really like that. Anything else you want to add that I might have missed, or points you want to make about anything I said?
There is a character, which I guess I'm not allowed to say its name.
Not allowed to say.
Even though it happens like in the first 10 minutes of the movie.
Yep.
But I was so excited about him being
this
there.
is the cameo that I was saying. There's a cameo,
I was... it was beautiful. Like when I saw him, I just started pointing, and I was like, "It's him! It's him!"
Spoiler alert! It is a him.
Yes. We didn't ask him. No, but I'm just saying, I was so excited, and I mean, him and other things that, unfortunately, I mean, we can't say because this is spoiler-free. Yeah. But I love, I guess, the interaction of Peter Parker with other characters.
Yeah.
That was, I guess, one of my favorite things, and I really do love how they develop each relationship. Peter Parker with and May, Peter Parker and MJ.
Even Peter Parker and Doctor Strange.
Yeah, Ned. Sorry, not Zed. Ned and MJ. Their friendship, their teamwork. It was really cool. How the bad guys, you know, some of the bad guys with each other. I really believe that they gave us a development of all these relationships that it was just amazing.
And especially at the end of this, with you see where they go with Spider-Man himself. Oftentimes in a lot of movies, they have character development happen from the halfway point to right before the end, and then by the end of the movie, you have your character, and you're like, okay, I'm the developed character now, and I'm going to go fight the bad guy. Here, the character development happens all, basically through the entire movie, and then at the end, it pays off in a way that some people are going to like, but some people aren't going to like. Some of the resolution stuff going on, but I just think that as far as the character himself, Spider-Man, is much better. I think that basically what they've done with Tom Holland's Spider-Man now is made him the best of all of the Spider-Man movies that we've seen in the past. So, last thing is that there are ×2. This is how I wrote it in my notes. ×2 after credit scenes. Spoilers. This is not a spoiler, but one of them is a teaser for the next Doctor Strange movie, and then the other one ties in some new characters into Spider-Man. So we're going to see where they go with that and how they do that, and hopefully they can do it right. And I'm very excited to see the future of this character. Mostly because, and I've said this in the past, that I'm not so excited for Marvel, because I think that Marvel is on a downward trend with all of its characters, and it's kind of sad to see that Marvel worked so hard to build this thing up and then got bought by Disney, and now they're downtrending because of the way that Disney runs things, in my opinion. But Sony is killing it, and I hope to see 1,000 more years of Sony making movies like this. Okay, final statements. Because of everything that we've talked about, I really loved this movie. I think that they've done this really great arc. This movie, like I said, it's about redemption, and the Spider-Man movies have redeemed themselves. They've made Tom Holland a redeemed character, kind of made him stand out on his own 2 feet, be his own Spider-Man without being in the shadow of Iron Man. He's taken on his core pillar of, with great power comes great responsibility. They even say that in this movie. He says the words, with great power comes great responsibility. And I just think that they've really opened it up for the future of the franchise. And like I said, just one last thing I want to say about the development of this character is even Doctor Strange says with certain things, like he tells him that he loves him, not in a even a father-son way, but just like as a friend way, like I love you and we've worked together and we're great friends and allies here. And I just I really think that they did a really solid job with developing the character and opening up for the future, and maybe even other films, offshoot films with certain characters that we see. Awesome. Because of all of that, I'm going to rate this as 2 thumbs way, way, way up, even my big toes way up. Put my big toe up in the air for you. Excellent, okay? Excellent, excellent, excellent. I loved this movie. I think that it's worth a watch. I saw it twice.
That's what I was going to say.
I saw it twice, and it was better the second time. I loved this. This was great, and you definitely need to go see this movie.
So I rate this movie, I guess, above average, almost as excellent, but let me explain why.
Oh, that's okay, yeah.
So, I love the movie. So, I recommend for anyone to go see it. It's worth it, and I'm sure that, probably everyone is going to give it an excellent. And I'm so happy that it's doing so well at the box office and even, here in the United States. And
I'm sorry, I forgot to mention this. I was going to say this in my final statement. I'm sorry. 1.6 billion in the global box office. This is a number. The last numbers I saw is that it was number 6 in the highest grossing movie in human history, and that says something because we still kind of had this whole COVID going on and lockdown restrictions and stuff, and then everybody's saying, oh, superhero fatigue. But we can definitely see from this film and how popular it's been, it's not superhero fatigue, it's bad writing fatigue. And they did good writing on this and got a good payout for it. So hopefully they can keep that going. And I think, like I said, I think that's more on the part of Sony than Marvel. So anyway, I'm sorry, go on.
So I love the movie. And unfortunately, I saw the movie with Tobey Maguire, all in Italian. So I was used to Doc Ock and even Green Goblin to have like an Italian voice. So hearing them with a different voice, it kind of
put a dampener on the mood for you.
Yes, like it was so weird that something felt off for me. And I feel bad because that's the real voice, and so so I think that if I would have seen this movie in my own language, maybe I would have had that more like that nostalgia feeling that the movie was trying to show you, to give you, and so I felt a little bit off. Also, I did not see, despite Spider-Man being my favorite superhero, Andrew Garfield's movie, that like where Andrew Garfield was the Spider-Man. So I did not know the bad guys from that movie that were here that you mentioned, the lizard guy.
Okay, so you're saying you didn't see the Andrew Garfield movies, so when they included those characters, you had no connection to them.
Yes.
Okay.
Instead, you did, and I heard a lot of other people did, and so I kind of felt like I was missing something, and it's my fault. So.
Are you saying... So I just want to ask you to make this very clear. It's a great movie.
Yes, it is.
But some of the nostalgia pieces that make it excellent are not there for you?
Yes, because I believe that this movie works a lot on nostalgia.
Mm-hmm.
And
in
I
a good
felt
way.
it, yes. I felt it, but not as much as I thought I would, and as much as other people did.
Mm-hmm.
And it's probably because of the language, the connection of certain characters, and also because I was a little upset for that decision that Peter Parker made. He was blaming on Doctor Strange when the guy was just trying to help him.
Mm-hmm.
He was just doing what he was asked to, even he didn't have to. He was trying to do a favor to Peter, and he was even almost blamed for it, and it wasn't his fault. And I thought that they could do something better, like that the formula and the spell didn't work because of something else. No, make it on Peter, because I'm kind of tired of him being the reason for why everything happens, or him being kind of the silly, stupid character. You know, when he is a genius. I mean, he's my favorite my favorite superhero. And also, he's my favorite character. Like, I love Peter Parker. And I think Tom Holland, they have such a great actor. I mean, he's younger. You know, he's very good at switching this accent of his. He's great. So why would you ruin a character like that? I mean, it's just little things, you know. And I'm sure that for other people, it's not that a big deal. But to me, it is, you know, because he's not supposed to be like that. So even for that small detail, which is like, you know, like... You know,
you see that it, like you're saying, you see that.
Yeah, I'm trying, because I can't spoil it.
Right,
I can't spoil it, but it's hard. I mean, I would just ask a question. Would you kill Hitler if you could save thousands of people? Would you even think about it? Would you spend 5 minutes thinking about it? Would you immediately like say, no, I would? I mean, for people who saw the movie know what I'm talking about. I don't want to spoil it, but so I would say above average. Yeah, above average.
Okay, so there you have. Well, and one last thing I do want to say that I think that I agree with you about all that stuff, but like I said, I think that they kind of resolved it here. The next one, I think you're gonna like Spider-Man like the character of Spider-Man way more in the next one, and I think that you will too, because I know that. You know, I believe, and you know, I think that I'm going to as well. So I would bet money on that. So, but there you go. So here at Mike's After Action Reviews, we have a high above average for those maybe missing the nostalgia portion of this, and then for Spider-Man fans that have seen the character, read the comic books, and seen all the other movies, this is an excellent film. So definitely go check it out, guys. But that's all we've got today. So we do want to say thank you for watching. Make sure to share the video, leave a comment down below, leave a like, and subscribe to see more of the content. But God bless you all, and have a good day.
Bye, guys.